And you're here as well. You're on mute,
Yeah.
so we can't.
He's across the street.
Okay. Oh, hello.
There we go.
One of you is Tammy.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, the one with the shorter hair.
Thanks for joining us. And then Alex Eastman, you've also joined. Your camera and microphone are off. If you choose to turn those, we'll be able to hear and see you.
Look at that.
Wow,
the street.
that is good. And then Judy Lincoln is with the Westboro Village BIA. Ashley, you're not with the city. You're with Jordan. No.
Hi there. Yeah, I'm Paradigm Properties. I'm here for 300 Richmond property.
Perfect. Sorry, Ashley. I was like,
no.
So one of our local landlords, commercial landlords, and I think that it. Oh, Craig has joined as well. Also commercial landlord. Unless joining as a resident. So Craig, you've joined us. You've got your microphone off and your camera. Sorry, your microphone on, your camera off. If you choose to put your camera on, we'll be able to see you. Teresa, we'll give this another minute or so since people are kind of joining in. And then oftentimes we run these meetings with, giving people privileges to jump in and out, but this one's just wide open. So please feel free to jump in as you need. Peter, hi. So I think we can get underway. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong cameras and I shouldn't have bought this TV. This is very odd. So we are here to take a look at the pre-construction meeting for 404 Eden.
Hi, Peter.
And the
Abby. Oh, there's Peter.
Sorry. Hi, Josh. We're a small street.
I know. So the hope here is we've asked Jordan to join so that he can talk about things like construction schedules, construction impacts. You can ask him questions about all that. From what I understand, Jordan does not have a formal presentation, which is fine. But I guess, the first thing I would ask is, Jordan, is what you're intending to still what the community has seen? And I believe it is.
Yes.
And when do you intend to get underway?
Good question. First off, hello everyone. Some I know, some I do not. Tammy, Jeff. What I'm building is exactly what everyone has already seen. There's also a rendering, which I'm sure everyone's seen on the sign posted on the front of the home. Right now, in terms of construction schedule, assuming we start June 1, we're thinking this project is going to take us 14 months to complete. Right, there is a little uncertainty in terms of start date, but I anticipate it's going to be sometime in June. We have our building permits completed. All of our work in terms of the site plan applications has all been finished as well and completed. So we're just waiting on a few signatures and I's dotted, T's crossed on the city's end. But again, when I have the exact date, I intended to send out a communication by a letter. I can send an email to the counselor's office and they can distribute it to their groups. And I was also planning on, which is standard protocol for us, is dropping off a letter to all the closest neighbors. And of course, my closest neighbor, I mean, we text and they'll probably get a personal one from me. So
Close neighbor being Jeff and I?
Yes. closest neighbor.
I'm going to say, yeah, okay.
So I guess again, this is my first construction meeting. I guess my next one, maybe I will have a presentation, but I guess the concerns are mostly going to be around schedule, which I understand is going to be more of a nuisance because of the stay-at-home order. that everyone's under, which is not fun. And there's also, everyone knows there's lots of bedrock in the area, which when 300 Richmond went up, there was blasting. Fortunately for this project, there won't be any blasting. We have our geotech report, which is all posted online, and they call for rock at 3 feet from the surface. We're only going down 8 feet, so we're breaking 5 feet, and we're going to just be hoe ramming that. So it will be loud, but in terms of blasting and intense vibrations and I guess the concerns that come with all the blasting, there won't be any of that. So, I mean, I think I had mentioned that way back when in our community consultation years ago. But I mean, I guess that's probably the most important item that will come from this construction meeting. So there will be no blasting and encroachment. There will be some encroachment on Elvis Lives Lane. And fencing will predominantly be on our property.
Okay, Jordan, and this is a selfish thing that I'm going to ask you. And
No
we
problem.
talk-
No, you have
we're
every
gonna
right.
Now that I have my COVID vaccine and we can meet someplace outside apart,
Mhm.
but a lot of it is going to be on my property.
The encroachment.
The encroachment on you talk about Elvis Lives Lane, but with you building your wall and doing your stuff, it's a lot of mine, eh, Jordan?
I don't have that number in front of me yet, but there will be some encroachment during the excavation. But because everything is bedrock, there won't be the typical setback requirements that a building would normally require. But we could have an offline conversation between us, and we can work out all those details before we
and
go
we talked
ahead
about it
and-
before, and you were
yeah.
very respectful
absolutely.
about building the wall and doing the landscaping. You're still
Yeah.
going to do that?
Absolutely. And I think we
Good.
had an agreement that I have no issue to refresh. And
Okay.
with respect to your property, it's also a good idea that we take photos and we can get a structural engineer in there just to do a initial assessment. Then again, we can do one afterwards just to make sure there's no issues in terms of the integrity of your foundation, because I mean, I've done lots of projects, neighboring properties when there is proximity there. Is always an issue, and then rightfully so. It's it's
No, I just worry about
an
and then
important an important asset.
I'm done being selfish with this meeting, but just that the side of the property line, we have the big dog, and we have our trees, and we have our stuff that you're going to respect what we talked about 3 years ago, because I'm not going anyplace. We're not moving.
Me neither. Perfect. We will.
Okay.
Let me know.
Okay, we
Anyways,
can
we'll
move on.
chit chat and we'll get together, whether it's this week or next. No issue.
Okay. So I'm sorry I hoarded this. Let's move on.
No problem.
Jordan, how long? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to introduce myself. I'm the unlucky person to have moved across the street. And by the way, that rendering looks like a 3-unit, not a 16 to 18 units. So my changes would have been a little different if I knew it was 18 units.
It's not 18. It's not 18.
How many?
13.
How many
it's
is
14. It's 14. And that was by design, and he designed. That's what we actually intended to. We wanted it to look like a triplex or like semis from the street, so it blended with everything in the neighborhood.
So a couple of issues, and I think if one looks at the parking, even without this building, there's probably a lot of records of parking issues on this street. And so my question is going to be the parking scenario in construction then after. And in particular, if you fast forward to the winter, half the time there are cars parked halfway over my driveway. So that's a problem. So I'd like to hear where the construction trucks are going to be circling and parking, because that's going to make a big difference for probably our whole street, but for sure me personally.
Yeah, during construction, there are conveniences that unfortunately everyone has to go through. Just like when your house went up and your neighbor's house went up, there's congestion on the street, there's going to be noise. In terms of construction parking, where trades are going to park, everyone is going to go, all the trades I'm going to assume are going to park on Eden or on the, if there's no more room on Eden, they're gonna go up the street, or some of them may park on Richmond Road or this. I don't have the streets in front of me. Give me a second. There'd be on
No,
Lincoln, and any spillover would be likely
Byron
on,
would be a
I would
good
imagine on
staging.
Edwidge. Yeah, and Byron as well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Byron
I
would be
mean,
a
I-
good staging area.
And I
Mhm,
guess
that's
to
true.
make a similarity with when a single house is built, that's not really a fair comparison, right? I mean, that's a whole lot different number of trucks and duration. So, I mean, I think that would be, you know, a big help for the neighbors, or a neighborly gesture to not pack up Eden, because I know it's already hard if I have my in-laws visiting that are not so mobile, or, you know, anyone else, suddenly they're going 2 streets over. So, you know, I think that would help to give some consideration of traffic flow and parking.
Well, yeah, I definitely understand that. And what would be most effective to deal with all that is you could exchange numbers with myself, one of our project managers. And if there's ever an issue with parking, or an access issue, or a time where you may need, where you anticipate visitors and you're going to need freed up parking right in front of your home, we could coordinate that and make sure we, you know, respect, you know, everyone has respect for the neighbors, and everyone wants this process to go smoothly. Communicating and making arrangements ahead of time will solve a lot of these problems.
One of the things I wanted to just ask overall with the, what do you say, it was 12 or 13 units you're putting in, Jordan?
14.
14 units?
14,
And how
yeah.
many 9 parking spots?
No, I actually got rid of all the parking spots. So there's only one visitor at the back now.
So there's no parking.
For
Not
14
anymore, no.
units.
Yeah.
There's no
So
oh my
How is this
goodness.
gonna work?
that's a nightmare.
Yeah, how
Like,
is
it's
that
already a
gonna work?
nightmare.
I'm
So
sorry, Jordan,
again,
but
if you looked at the records of complaints from the street, I think you'd see that, like, it's been really tough for the neighbors and for us. And now you're building a 14 unit with no parking. Ask how
That's
that's
right.
been working for the in the area at all.
So Jeff, can I ask?
Carol and Trish.
Yep.
Go on mute, please.
Oh.
Sorry, we're multitasking here.
There we go.
Yeah. So so that's new information. So was that something that was formally
Yeah.
changed?
I don't remember when that happened. It probably wouldn't have required a vote, because as far as I know, they're not required to have can hear.
Yeah.
I'd have to like delve into the zoning of it, but that's not. Sorry, I don't know the details of when or where that transpired. It's
Okay.
as of right.
Okay.
He's allowed to do it.
All right.
I can speak to that, and I can speak to that, and that plan was changed. I think it's been over a year and a half, and I know we communicated that. I'm not sure. I don't want the perception to be that we did something because we were allowed to do it, and that made it so we didn't have to tell anybody. I was under the impression that adjustment was communicated.
I was under the impression
That shouldn't be new information. I don't think that. My understanding of that's not new information.
Yeah, I can ask Fiona to pull it up. There would have been a site plan application process. He's
Yeah,
allowed to have.
I'm just having
Fiona.
technical issues, but give me a second and I will find what I can. So I'll be back.
Yeah, I just don't recall it. It's still to submit it to the city. But the zoning is such, I believe, in this spot that it doesn't come to council or anything for a vote.
My question, how can you have a 14, 13, 12, whatever,
14.
14 unit and not have parking? You have one parking spot. Like, that's nonsense.
Yeah, and I don't want to have. I mean, it's a big discussion in the ward, and we can spend the meeting chatting about it. But if you're Fiona, you live on Wellington Street without a car, right? This would be a very Yeah, this would be a very bad place to live if you have a car. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the developers to make sure that they tell tenants there's no parking here. Because what happens is people move in, and if they've been told that they can just park on the street, they get hassled, and we get the calls in the office. Right, you folks are calling when they're overtime. The winter parking bans are daytime now, so people have difficulties moving their car. The street becomes, halfway impassable during the winter. People call my office and they're like, "You me, I cannot park my car anywhere," and we have to tell them, "I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do." So my leaning on the developer in this instance is to make sure they're communicating clearly there's no parking. But there is a market of people like a couple of my assistants in the office who are professionals who do not have cars.
And if I can interject, we're renting a lot of units, many units in Westboro, in Hintonburg, downtown. We just don't see there's just not the demand there was for cars anymore. We are renting so many units on Tweedsmuir even without parking. Same with our products in Hintonburg. So I guess the city's moving in that direction. I'm seeing it move in that direction too. And right now, in terms of where costs are going, and where with respect to the carbon footprint of all the, what comes with having a parking garage and having all those cars that aren't always used, it's, I think the city's policy is in line with what the market is, where the market's going to. So I was happy to make that change. Made a lot of
Sorry, is it
sense.
rental or sale? Because it's different if you're renting.
It's rentals.
Okay, because hopefully, I mean, life changes. Suddenly you have a baby and you realize, right? So yeah, if it's at least rental, then presumably they're going to move. Although the rest of us who are living on the street, we're here. And like I say, it's a real problem on this street. So it's really a shame.
So I will only say I hope it's not as bad as you're expecting. I'll just leave it there because the building's moving ahead with no parking. And if you want to, I don't know if we want to move on to some other construction considerations this evening.
Well, could you excuse me for a minute? Is there any plans of improving the street at all? Like the resurfacing or the sidewalks? Or I know that there were 2 services installed across the street that already involved quite a bit of disturbance.
Yep.
I was wondering if after this project, anything will be done about the street itself.
It depends how many cuts. Yeah, it depends how many cuts they make.
So there's been 3 in the last year.
By the same developer?
Well, 2 by Hydro.
Shit.
Here, and 1 by the city of Ottawa for water.
Oh, but to the same development? Like, is it good to this development?
Two services to the same development, yes.
Okay.
For some reason there was 2, and that kind of scared me because that usually goes to a bigger development, 2 services.
Yeah, one that went to our house, which we didn't ask for. Yes?
No, that was 5 TV.
Okay.
So the reason I ask is last term I was to get the city to commit to requiring developers who make multiple cuts for larger developments to resurface the street.
That's standard.
Yeah,
well, the trucks will destroy it as well.
Well, and it's not like the actual, meters and meters of the street, not just repaving in the curb cut. And they will be coming. We've hired new staff equipment to inspect the service cuts to make sure that they are properly repaired. So that's an improvement. Resurfacing the street, you're in the queue of city resurfacings. So the city is way, way behind on resurfacing streets. It's why you're paying 3% tax increases this term of council compared to 2% last. We're putting that extra into infrastructure repair. I would need to check with Tom in my office to see where Eden is on that list. And one of the things that I've been doing a lot in our ward is I asked city staff to go out and assess the street and where it is in the list of what's next. Because there is a comprehensive plan. But there, you know, a lot of the plan is like, yeah, the street lasts this long, so it should be ready to be resurfaced in whatever year. In our neighborhood, of course, the construction is killing the streets. So I can ask staff to go out, you know, maybe after this development is in, and say, can you please reassess the street and make sure it's in the right place in the queue with respect to resurfacings. I don't know do you know when the street was last rebuilt? Like the water sources and everything?
I've been here 50 years and it hasn't been done.
So that is, I sorry, I don't want to say that's yeah, I don't want to say that's a good thing, but it does mean that you're probably getting closer to a full rebuild. And so the
sidewalks are becoming dangerous.
Yeah. So, write me an email about that because Tom is not here this evening. But we can go out, assess the state of the street. If there are fixes that they can make to help in the meantime, they might be able to do it. And then we can take a look at where the street is in the queue for a rebuild or resurfacing or whatever. And then when they rebuild the street, you know, it'll turn out awesome.
Doesn't need to be done before Jordan does his stuff.
No.
No.
So I know I'll be responsible for my curbs, but Jeff's totally Jeff Neighbor is totally right in terms of that whole area is just decapitated. Like the whole area is torched.
It took me like 3 years to get Roosevelt, you know, the stub of Roosevelt on the north side there. Like I was going around taking pictures and giving them to the media of my feet in potholes up to like mid shin. It was brutal. And that took 3 years to finally get a resurfacing of that. So I don't want to hold out hope that the city is going to swing in and get everything done, but I will do what I can to make sure it's in at least the right place on the list. And that means getting city staff out to assess it probably once Jordan's job is done.
Okay.
Jordan, how long is the excavation going to take and how deep are you going?
We're only going we're only going 8 feet. We're going 8 feet. We're only breaking 5 feet of rock.
Okay.
And the excavation, I don't see it lasting more. Yeah, I don't see it lasting more than a week.
Sounds about right.
What about the demolition of the house itself? It would be there would be an asbestos issue, would there not?
Yes, we've gotten tested. We got those items tested.
Okay, is there an asbestos issue if you're excavating right beside our house or demolishing it right beside our house? Is there an issue for our air quality?
No, there won't be an issue for that, and we can provide the results of those items as well. And that demolition of the house will be an hour. That'll be the quickest part of the project.
Yeah, it's just I don't want the deadly dust.
No, you won't get it. And then whether there was asbestos or not, we always have a water truck there controlling all the debris.
Okay.
So that's I guess that's an extra precaution, but that's typically should be standard right these days, having the water truck there.
And then so once you start coming out of, like once you're done your excavation, you got your foundation pour, which is, you know, significantly less disruptive than the excavation, obviously, and then you're framing and going from there. When do you expect sort of project completion?
So in a normal time, had I done this last year, it would have been a heck of a lot cheaper too. And
I gotta wonder why anyone's doing anything anymore.
And it would have been a heck of a lot quicker. So right now it's, just as uncertain as it is being permanent with all the issues that Corona's caused, construction unfortunately is no different. So right now we're finding issues on other jobs in terms of supply chain disruptions, which are hurting schedules. And we're having on one job, we've had to order, for example, our bathtub 6 months ahead of time when usually it's supposed to take 2 weeks. So we're doing our best to sort of get ahead of any supply chain issues that would be a problem, but scheduling trades, and it's just not what it was. Like right now is probably the worst time to ever build. So as much as I'd love to sit here and say we're going to be done 12, 13, 14 months, I'm hoping to do that. And we're obviously doing our best to get it done as quick as possible, because we want it faster than you guys want it done. That's for sure. But I can promise to communicate schedule updates monthly, and if anyone wants to text me or email me, I'll reply with schedule updates. Like, I mean, I'm hoping again 12 to 14 months, but if shit happens, I mean, it's sometimes we just have no control over those things.
This
Which
is
sucks.
this is an
wanna
official
say-
council. Not allowed to say words like that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I just want to say that next door looks like a poo hole. It looks like a poo hole for the last like 2-3 years, Jordan. And
what,
we
sorry?
have home people living there.
It-
Like the
It hasn't been well maintained.
no,
for
it
the
hasn't
last,
been maintained, and there's
Oh.
homeless people living there, and
We have new
and-
varieties
Yes.
of wheat.
we have all kinds of variety. We have mice and stuff coming into our house we never had before. So I'm a little Jordan, we were going to talk before after I got my vaccine, but no, it's not nice living next door to this. As everyone else, I think on the street was, it's not really a nice piece of property when you live in this neighborhood to look at. Like, it's really not.
I've been
Well,
trying to get this thing going. It's just it's not for lack of
Yeah.
effort. I wish we were building right now. It's just
Yeah.
unfortunately with everything going on, I wish I was I wanted to be doing this project last year.
No, I understand.
Just a quick question, is the retaining wall going up right after the excavation? Or
Retaining walls
is it going
are
up
after the foundation's done and after framing's done. We're gonna go do all the walls.
So the retaining wall is after the project is, so we're looking
No.
at a,
No, definitely the retaining walls are gonna be after we get out of the ground, after we frame. So like, let's say I would say I'll commit to before, assuming we
When
get
the-
going here, reasonable time here, before the winter.
okay,
'Cause we
but when
don't-
the
so I'll-
foundation work is done.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's all I need to know.
And we'll have there's probably more detail we have to go over in terms of what you guys need, some special stuff. So we'll deal with all that, because I know,
I
there's
appreciate
gonna be
that.
disruption. There's gonna be disruption there.
I'd appreciate that.
Thank you.
We'll
There's a
keep the dog.
question in the chat.
Problem.
Hi, so there's a question in the chat from Judy. What will be the route for construction vehicles?
Yeah.
The right route. The route coming from Byron. There's no other way. Because there's I can't promise that there won't be the odd construction contractor who will turn onto Eden from Richmond Road, but to follow the traffic laws and should follow the right route to get to Eden. I've been guilty of breaking that rule for sure. I'm going to make sure to set an example, not to break it until after the project's done.
This isn't going to be numbers, so right? You're going to have one. I don't know how many dump trucks full, 1 or 2.
So there'll be dump trucks. There'll be 2 at a time. One idling, one and during the excavation, and then.
But how many loads is that? You're going down 5 feet.
I can't answer. I couldn't give you the answer right now. I don't know. I'd be guessing. But after that, I mean, I wouldn't imagine there'd be more than 5 cars at a time during the construction, on average, I would say.
Can I suggest that they stage at the corner of Byron and Eden up on, there's a wide shoulder there.
I second that. That would help
There's
because it's
very
going
wide
to be
shoulder.
tough.
Yes, and if you.
Parking, you mean, parking.
Well,
No, staging of your construction vehicles. If you have,
Oh,
like I know
yes.
myself, if you have 4 or 5 on the hall, you can stage them up and have one at a time. It would alleviate a lot of the grief in here.
I'm gonna send the email. That's actually a really good location. I'll send that email right now, Jeff.
I'd appreciate that.
Okay, that's done. That's a good location. Likely would have done
It's
that
a
anyway. but
wide shoulder.
It's a good one. Yeah, it is. It's a good spot.
And you can even.
And a lot of
I-
cars can
I
park
would
there
imagine
too, so
you
they
could-
don't congest Eden.
I could imagine you could put a sign there for the truckers because oftentimes they need a lot of guidance.
Yeah. Did we have any other questions related to the construction schedules or concerns about the construction?
I think I was only logging in because we sent out an email in response to Alvis Lane. So I would just ask that Christine
Yeah.
from my office has reached out to you. If we can just be in consistent contact, because I need to make sure that I have egress and services for the property. So that's the only reason why I was here. So I just want to open up a line of communication.
Yeah, Christina had sent me an email asking for a drawing showing the fencing, and I told her I would get this week.
Yeah. So maybe,
So,
yeah, if we can just maybe a call with my staff and we can try and just arrange it, because I have to make sure I set expectations for the service providers and the tenants as well.
And am I to continue to deal with Christine, or would you be the?
Yeah, I'll
point of
line up
contact?
all myself, like I'll line up a call for Christine, you and I, so that we can go
Sure.
through everything. And then Christine will be your point of contact for us.
Sure.
Please and thank you.
No
That kind of
problem.
reminds me, Jordan, moving forward, how do you want to communicate? Like if there's anything you want residents to know, since this is a smaller project, can I disseminate your email address? Can I put it in the chat to make sure everyone has it on hand? Do you want them to email us and then we email you? Like, how do you want to do that?
No, I can, like, typically we'll have sign and post, and we'll have the project man number and email posted on the sign. Any immediate neighbors, I mean, I don't mind sharing my cell, or I'll just give you my cell phone number, and it's probably better to just call me. I mean, you can have the email as well, but I don't mind the immediate neighbors deal with me directly because they're most impacted, and they're, you know,
I guess if
that makes the most sense.
Like if you wanted to communicate to a bunch of people at once.
Oh, I was just my plan, I mean, if this is acceptable, I was just going, once actually firm updates, I was just going to send you, Fiona, an email to that effect, and I can distribute the letter I give to the immediate neighbors, and you can send that out to the BIA. But for the closest neighbors, we just drop off, we just hand bomb the letter to those neighbors directly. So, and
So
again, for anything further, they could call.
If anyone's on this call, maybe just shoot our office an email so I have your email address in case I don't, just so that nothing's missed. Thanks.
Sorry, one of the other requests I'm making right now is, can you adhere to the city noise bylaw as opposed to the special bylaws currently, or the provincial noises?
I don't know the difference.
So ordinarily work doesn't start till 7, and then there's a later start on weekends and statutory holidays. We're experiencing like one big project where they're taking advantage. The province has overridden the city's noise bylaws during the pandemic to allow construction 6 till 10 p.m. 7 days a week, including holidays. It's driving residents absolutely nuts. But most builders are still sticking with the 7 o'clock start, and then, you know, a later start if you are working on weekends.
No, we're gonna stick to this. We're 7 to 5 or 7 to 6. I mean, actually, it's hard. It's rare people stay past 4.
Yeah, it's pretty dead at 4. So
But,
okay, so
if there's
fairly
any-
standard construction
yeah.
hours.
And if it's on the weekend, everyone knows what the rule is,
Perfect.
and it's very rarely on the weekend unless we're in a pinch.
Yeah, the infill projects have not been the major issue, but I am just asking that work not start at 6.
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't.
Yeah,
No.
sorry,
It's
can I-
it's more the commercial. It's more what they do on the commercial side.
And can I just also just confirm, because I am one of the lucky working at home. So just so I know, when would be the loudest period? So let's say you start, I don't know, end of June. Is it the first 2 months, or when is it going to be the loudest?
The dig and the rock breaking is going to be the worst. Like, there's no sugarcoating it. They're smashing a couple ton hammer into rock very quickly, and that's going to be horrible. That'll be a week max. Framing won't be that bad, I think, bearable. But that's the first week is the worst week. I don't see. I mean, especially once we're erected, you won't hear anything.
Okay. Bless
That was my mom. She's in the house.
So unless there's anything else, I can thank everyone for coming. Fiona, is there anything we've missed?
Not that I can think of, but just to reiterate, yeah, if Jordan has any updates, it sounds like he'll talk to the immediate neighbors. But if you want to be notified of those, send me an email. That way I can put your email in the electronic file for this property. And then I can communicate those updates out to you if there are any. And then it also sounds like Jordan's willing to pass along his contact information. So this is also being recorded and I will put it on YouTube. So if any of your neighbors or spouses or friends and family missed tonight, they can catch the recording on YouTube. It'll probably be up by the end of the week.
Perfect. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. I appreciate you coming out. Jordan, thank you very much for answering folks' questions. And off we go.
Put a
Everyone,
plug
see you
in
soon.
for us, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
For
Thank you, Jordan.
resurfacing.
Oh
Bye.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I will. It's all of our streets, they're crumbling. Like
Yes.
yeah. Anyways, I won't belabor the point.
Well, my
I hear
husband's
it.
retired from paving, so it's actually kind of
Just
fun.
a favor off. I'll do it myself.
I might take you up on that. Everyone, bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Good night.
Thank you.